What's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is Milton Spence with Milt's Coaching Corner. I just wanted to make sure I tapped in with you guys here today to let you know that it is okay to be exactly who you are. It is okay to have a challenge for yourself and go out there and sublime and assimilate to the things that you are. It is okay to come into fruition of everything that you wish to be, and it is okay to challenge the norm and challenge the status quo for everything everybody says you're supposed to be. I appreciate each and every person who takes an opportunity to tap in with me, every person who doesn't just like and skip, and every person who gives me actual support. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, because without you, then I would have a channel, but without you, I would not have the listenership and I would not have the subscribers or anything to rank, or you know how these algorithm things work, right? So I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for you guys. So nothing that you do for me goes unappreciated. Nothing that you will do for me goes unappreciated. Thank you guys so much. I'm here today to speak to you because this month has been something that has been one of the main goals of me this year. I have to admit to you all, and on a personal level, that's what this episode is about. It's the personal level. How do you get personal with your goals, and how do you come down to earth and make sure that you're 10 toes down with the things that you really want to do in this life? Every month I have an episode where I share more personal things and I get more into conversation with you guys in the sense of, you know, making sure that we're all on the same page as far as who and what we are, what we're trying to do. I have it all written down in methodology, but today I want to get more personal and just talk to you guys a little bit about me, how I go about following the very things that I have a podcast about. Truth is, you are nothing without doing exactly what you're teaching others to do or trying to help others to do, because you cannot appreciate nor can you relate to that person at the level that they're at, right? I'm not one of those people where I believe that I'm above anybody else or I believe I'm below anybody. I believe I'm right where I'm at. Wherever that is, I only aim to be higher than I was yesterday. That's how I approach life, and that's how I approach situations. So in my personal life, I have to say, I'm very proud of myself. I'm in school full time for my PhD in psychology. And in my PhD in psychology, I have to say that I have a 3.0 GPA. And not just that, in my current class, I have an 85, and it is on the last week of class, and I'm almost done with statistics, which is not one of my strongest subjects that I've ever been in, but I do have an 85 in the class, and I'm just happy to be on my way out, to be honest. Now, when it boils down to it, how do I achieve my goals? Number one, I just take steps. I don't look around me to figure out, like, you know, who else is doing it. Sometimes it gets like that, right? Because I'm on TikTok just like you. I'm on Instagram, and I see you guys. I see a lot of people out there doing things that it seems like they're achieving their goals. It seems like they're doing exactly what they want, you know. But that's the problem, you know, feeding into the norms, feeding into the factors of people achieving their goals and not achieving their goals, feeding into the operandus, the modus operandus of what success looks like, and so on and so forth. And I start to realize that, you know, I can't feed into that, because that is not me. I am a person who is willing to look stupid, look foolish in achieving what they want. I'm also a person that's willing to operate in a space and a time where it's okay for me to be down. It's okay for me not to have, because I've been there before. I didn't grow up having everything handed to me, and I definitely didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I grew up having to work. I grew up having to be a person who didn't get out here and, you know, I got a job at the age of 13 because I recognized my mom's struggle and I recognized what she was going through. And I said, I want to take some of that burden off of her, and I want to have my own money to do my own things. You know, I'm the person who had the piggy bank and was proud to have it, you know, proud to have that quarter, proud to have that penny, because not having much, it teaches you to have appreciation of having a little. You know, just getting a Happy Meal on a Friday was like everything, right? And then being able to have certain things, you know, maybe renting a game from Blockbuster was like everything to me, because when you have the things that you need, then you don't necessarily need to have the things that you want, right? You don't need to have the things that you want. You have the things that you need. And I believe many of us, all of us, you know, most of us can have the ability to be out here and basically breaking down ourselves to be better than we were yesterday and better than the person we were last year. But if we realize that it's It's all steps. It's not, how do I be better than I was yesterday, but I'm trying to be the best in this and I'm trying to be the best in that. You like comparing yourself to each and every person and trying to be the best and trying to be the best to the point where you don't even reach a point of being anything except for in competition with other people. And I believe that is the ultimate downfall of everybody. I believe that is the ultimate downfall that we have, is trying to be competitive, having rivals, right? Being a rival of ourselves, being a rival of the next person on Instagram, be a rival of the person, get out of that. Break that down. That has nothing to do with anything. What has a lot to do with everything is, are you taking the steps? Like, are you taking the steps? Because you'll realize, like, once you take the steps, right? We idolize people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and stuff like that, right? LeBron James. These guys take steps. Like, we idolize people, but we have to realize, like, these people take steps, and they should also be looking at us like, wow, you're taking your steps, instead of us looking at everybody. And I abhor the thought of celebrity or fame, because really, fame is an illusion to what it is like to be famous or what it is to be great. We should all be taking our steps, not to be famous, not to have attention, but because we want to not just survive, but we want to survive the nomenclature that you have to be famous in order to be somebody. We want to be famous in our own right. We want to be, big, and we want to be explosive, but we don't want to take the steps. We want it to be given to us, and we don't necessarily want to go for it and take it. I have everything in me that says, so many of you right now are in a position where you could really take steps in order to be your best self, right? You could really take steps in order to grant the wishes that you've had for so many times. But the problem is that instead of taking the steps, you pick up that phone, you look down, you don't, get the stuff you need to get done. You look around for anybody or something, some kind of drop in the bucket for you, or you are not doing exactly what you need to because you're so afraid of your own shadow. You're afraid to do and be the person that you're meant to be. You're afraid to go out here and actually live. You're afraid to give yourself over to the careers or to the things that could make you, right? And when I say careers could be anything, right? It doesn't have to be for a company. It could be. But careers are any type of job or anything you do on a career static aspect, meaning like you constantly do it, right? You show up every day for it. So my question is, when are you going to make a career for yourself? When are you going to make a career of yourself and the things that you're meant to do? When are you going to do that? Right? I'm here to give it to you because there's nothing in me that says that I want you to succeed more than you wanted to succeed for yourself. I don't want you to be a person that's out here just kind of like, loafing around and thinking that you got it together and thinking that you're this person or that person, thinking that, I got to do this and I got to do that and I want to be here and I want to be there. It's a lot of you out here that I feel and believe have so much more that is calling to you and calling of you that you're afraid to go to it. There's a number of people that I've met in my life that have had challenges beyond anything that you can ever imagine, right? And I say imagine because most of the time we like to live based upon what we have been shown versus what we can kind of close our eyes and see other people going through. And the way I say that is this: the same way you're seeing a celebrity being on a private jet, there's somebody out there sleeping on the street. The same way that you're seeing somebody, jumping off a boat into this nice blue ocean, there's somebody right now who can't even take a bath. So the imagination of these things, like, we have to have a well-rounded view of the world, because if we're only seeing the things, the jumping off the boats, the private jets as a way of life, then we totally miss out on the balance. We totally miss out on where it could go. And a lot of us end up, because we're looking up, not looking down, we're not looking left or right, we end up stuck in the middle, and we end up being average because we're not looking to where we need to go. Some of you are not meant to be entrepreneurs. Some of you are not meant to be content creators or whatever people, are aspiring to be based upon the lifestyle or based upon what they saw. Some of you need to be the best that you can be, because we're missing out on that in this world because you're not doing it. It was meant for you to do, but all you're doing is looking at other people live their life. And now we don't have it from you. Now all we have from you is the fact that, you're just kind of sitting back wishing that you could do this, or you're talking about it online, and you get on your lives and you get on these things and you talk about the things that you want to do, but In reality, you're not doing it because you don't have anything in you that says that you can. But the truth is, if you stop for a second and just look at yourself, you do have something in you saying that you can. And what that is the fact that you know for a fact what you should be doing. Or you don't necessarily know it all the way, but you know it's something more than what you're doing at the moment. I always say, break away from the constants of looking at others' lives, break away from the constants of looking at other people doing their thing, and get more so into what you need to do, right? Put your head down. I'm very big on that. Put your head down. Put your head down and do what you need to do, right? Don't look up, don't look left, don't look right. You know, the only time you need to be looking up is to thank God, real talk. But put your head down and do what you need to do, because it don't matter. Like on my YouTube videos, right, I might have 20 people watch it, 6 people like it, you know, so on and so forth. I am fine. Listen, I'm fine with that, because this is the work that I'm putting in now. These are the steps that I'm taking now. At some point in time, somebody's going to look back at this work that I've put in. They're going to look at the bricks that I've laid. They're going to look at the things I've done up to this point. And they be like, whoa, bro was really out here just putting his head down, and it wasn't a grind. The whole grind culture thing is a myth. It wasn't a grind. It was because I just took the time to do it. That's all. I put my head down. I took the time to do it. I have other things to do today, as a matter of fact, but I'm putting my head down to get out here and record this podcast and do what I need to do, and not live my life as if it's a life of luxury, but I'm living my life doing the things that I am called to do in order to make sure that I'm not failing myself. I have so much more self-respect when I don't fail myself. I have so much more respect for my own footing when I don't fail myself, because I answer to the call of my day, not just answering to the call of my life, but I also answer to the call of the day, right? Because it takes steps, man. It takes steps in order to get to these next levels and do the things that you really want to do. It takes a lot of steps. There's no skip, there's no leap, there's no bound, there's no quantum leap either. And we have to be afraid. We have to be afraid of nothing. We have to face everything as if it's a giant. We have to realize that David and Goliath is actually a story. It's actually a real story. And even if you believe in God or don't believe in God, it's still a story. Just like anything else out there, it's still a story that it's believable that it can be done, right? If David can slay a giant, then you can slay the giants in your life. You can slay the giants in your mind. You can slay the giants any and everywhere. But if you're sitting there thinking and you're not doing, that is your crippling effect. That is the part of you that I say that needs to change the most, because there's more of you out here who have so many dreams. The most expensive place, right? The most place of most billionaires in this world is right there in the cemetery. There's so many people who have the ability and had the ability to do so many great things, and they bypassed it because they were afraid. What are you scared of? For real? What are you honestly afraid of out here? Like, what you scared of? There's nothing to be afraid of. Except for what? Like when you really stop, think about it. What is there to be afraid of? There's no fear. There's no fear. There's an illusion. There's no real fear. There's nothing present that's stopping you. There's nothing present. I don't care nothing about white, black. I don't care nothing about Asian. I don't care nothing about none of that. None of that is real, man. None of that is real. The concept of time, 24 hours in a day, you have what you have, whether it's light outside, whether it's dark outside, no matter what it looks like, you do what you're supposed to do, right? If we took more time to listen to our body, listen to our mind, listen to not just the mind, but listen to ourselves and be intelligent, right? And we listen to God and we pray and we listen. If we took more time to do things that actually were, full of not just emotion or emotionalism, if we really took time, then we would stop ourselves from making so many bad choices and decisions, right? I've made bad choices and decisions. I've made them. And right now I'm telling you how I achieve my goals. This is all a part of it, right? Because I have something in me that says, don't worry about that. Don't look at that, right? You might not have this right now, but I can tell you situation after situation that I didn't have this and God provided. I didn't have that and God provided. There's a lot of situations that I didn't have this and God made it. You know what I'm saying? And all he did this entire time in my life, and these last, 5 years of my life, God has used it to teach me major lessons, to the point where entrepreneurship for me has been a thing, right? Like I've really been, I started a business and I, growing it, and it, then make money, and then I started making money, and then, It just was a whole thing. I've worked with people. I've learned from those people. I've done it. I've looked here, looked there, and God provided away every time. And if I was just so focused on just making a profit, if I was just focused on, oh, what this gonna do for me and da da da, if that was my focus, my sole focus the entire time, I would have failed. The truth of this entire plot of the story, what I'm saying is, the truth is that my entire focus was not on what I was gonna make. It was on, God, why did you have me do this? What is it that you want to do with me here? Why is it that you want me to be in this? What is it from this that I'm needing to learn? Why is it that I'm doing this, God? Like, what is this about? And what I had to understand is that, every step is a level of growth, and every step is something. And some steps have pain. Some steps have triumph. Some steps have, the depths that I can't even, give you the allure of. But it's like so much to the point where I've looked at people. There's been people around me, who have, looked down at me based upon, my thoughts or ideas, or, they didn't necessarily support it and stuff like that. And not one time did I give up. Not one time did I quit, because I knew what God told me to do. I knew what God told me to do. And there was no fear in that. I have no fear in that. Like, if this is what God told me to do, then that's what I'm doing. I have no fear. I have nothing in me that's going to shy away from it because you don't believe in it, or they don't believe in it, or this person doesn't believe in it. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm going to go for it, because I know that God is not a God that he has to just prove to you things by giving miracles or making rocks turn to birds and all of this kind of stuff. He asks that you trust him, that you give your entire life to him, and that you sacrifice yourself as a living sacrifice. You give your entire self. You give your entire self, right? You die to your flesh. You die to the thoughts that you can't do it. You die to those things. Those things don't belong in you, because you are greater. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So those people who only believe, 5 steps to get rich, 6 steps, like, listen, all of that may be valuable advice in some form or fashion, right? But the truth is, if you don't get down with God, if you don't get down with what's inside of you, then what are you out here doing for real? If you don't get down with what God has in you, like, some people you may not believe, right? And that's fine. But if you don't get down with it, right? If you ain't really true to yourself, then you are out here pretty much living a life that has nothing to do with nothing, right? Because at the end of the day, your success on this earth means nothing in the afterlife, right? What means something is you doing your purpose and following through what you're meant to do in this life. I can't sugarcoat that for anybody, right? Because at the end of the day, like, if you have children, what matters in their life is what you did with them, not just for them, but it matters what you did with them. Like, where did you meet them on their level? Did you love them? Did you really care for them? That's what kids care about, right? Because we have enough parents, we have enough people out here who don't care about children, i.e. these school shootings and stuff like that. We have enough people who don't care about kids. We have enough people who really don't give 2 craps about children. We have enough people like that. So why should you give your time or give your effort to anything that doesn't benefit the livelihood of the people that you love, that doesn't benefit the livelihood of the people that you care about? Why would you do anything that will hurt people? Like I talked about last week, if what you're doing in your life is lined up to hurt others, then it's the wrong thing, because nothing you have, no purpose that is divine, no purpose that was here before you is meant to hurt another person. Is only meant to help us. And the reason why we struggle so much in these United States is because we've gotten so far away from going to our purpose and doing what we're called to do, to careers, right? We're so hell-bent on careers and following the status quo. Like, screw that stuff, man. Like, we don't have to follow that stuff. We don't have to follow that stuff. The only thing we have to do in this world, in this life, and do what we're called to do. Be the person we're meant to be. Give what we're meant to give, right? Take what we're meant to take. There's enough to go around. There's enough money in the world, right? There's enough money in the world for you to be and do whatever it is that you're called to do without having to take, or without having to do all of these things in order to take from others. I find myself in a bad and very awkward position many times because I don't assimilate to the things that everybody else does. I do my own thing. I ain't really the type of man anyway to sit out here and just do what the next man is doing. I'm out here trying to do what I'm called to do. And what I know I'm called to do is to be here and spend time with you guys and send these messages out and speak I'm here to write. I'm here to produce films. I'm here to do things that are on a creative basis in order to get out the message of God, or get out the creative space of being able to create anything and everything that has a lot to do with art and has a lot to do with my self-expression. I'm here to show you guys there's a way to do it. And maybe one day I'll become rich off of it, or maybe one day I won't. But the fact is, I'm going to do what God has called me to do, because at the end of the day, if I died tomorrow, I don't want to leave no stones unturned, and I don't want to leave no eyes without the dots on them. I don't want to leave no eyes without the crosses on them, at the top and bottom. I don't want to leave anything undone. I don't want to leave stuff to my kids, right? Except for a legacy. And that's what I'm going to do. The legacy that I'm leaving my children is going to be, I believe I'm going to be financially, well off. I believe that, these things are going to happen, but it's only going to happen because I'm going to be in a position and put myself in a position where I'm going to follow God and do what I'm called to do. The question is, are you willing to do the same thing? Not to compete with me, but because you're willing to do the same thing. That's all. The earth is huge. It's got 8 billion people on it, and we literally only take up maybe 10% of the earth. So we're not a huge part of it, right? We're a very small, minuscule part of this entire thing. But the fact is, are you so afraid to do what you're called to do because you think somehow within the billions of people on earth, and somehow, people won't support it, people won't like it, people won't da. Do you know how many people are copying other people in order to get to a certain space or time in their life, when in reality what they're copying, like, well, if it ain't, you can't beat them, join them. But what if what I'm supposed to do don't got nothing to do with what they doing? If you can't be, why can't I just do my own thing? And if it's supposed to get 5 people, then it's 5, because what it's all about is planting those seeds. And I think what happens is in this life is that we feel like we're the tree all the time. We feel like we're the tree that's sprouting instead of something that is also planting seeds, right? You got to be able to plant seeds too, because you could be the one who helps spark this or helps build that or do this. But if you don't ever put yourself in that position, if you never do the idea or whatever, if you never do what comes to you to do, if you never do what you're called to do or pulled to do, or what comes to you naturally, if you don't do these things, then you inevitably are causing other people to stumble, and are inevitably causing other people to falter and fail, because you're so busy worrying about nothing. Don't worry about nothing. You can't for 1 second in your life believe that you somehow are answering a call and you also are sitting on your hands. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. We have to get out of the mentality that we are, better than where we are, based upon, the fame that we got, based upon the things that we think are fame, or attention. Screw attention, man. Do what's best for you. Do what's best for you. Take off the cloak, right? You can't protect yourself from the things that are meant to be. You have to do the things that are meant to be, because we need you, man. I'm telling you, we need you. Out here in this earth, we need you. We need you bad. There's nothing better than a person that we need, right? And we're getting from that person what we need. I'm telling you, we all one body, man. We all one being. And if we would operate in a space where we do our job, we do what we're meant to do. Like, my heart can't do what my legs do. You know what I'm saying? My heart can't walk. You know what I mean? My heart has to be my heart. My mind got to be my mind. But it all works in unison, right? Right? But if my heart and my mind are off kilter, then what happens to my body? It starts to do things that I don't need it to do. Right? That's why it's up to us to do what we need to do for our body in order to make sure we take care of ourselves. Right? So the body can do what it needs to do. And if we only doing things to, harm the body, then the body will harm us in return. It's just what it is. You reap what you sow. You get out what you put in. And the same thing that comes to your call in life. If you're going into it with 20%, you're going to get 20% in return. So just go balls to the wall. Just put your head down, do what you're supposed to do, and don't worry about it. Don't look left and right. Just look forward. You ain't got nothing to worry about, man. You really have nothing to worry about. Think about this, the amount of stress that people are under, based upon what? Trying to keep themselves not just up to the Joneses, but also trying to answer the call that people have put on them instead of answering the call that comes within them. There's so many families out here that are broken up because they're trying to follow the traditions of man. They're trying to follow traditions that were put upon them. It's so many mind states that are broken because they don't know how to just say, screw that, I'm gonna do this my way. I'm gonna go about this my way, right? Because people are afraid to be themselves because they know being themselves meaning that means they're the odd man, odd woman, odd person, odd being out. They're odd, and that's fine, right? Because there's odd numbers. There's a reason. If everything was supposed to be quote unquote matchy, then we would only have even numbers. We would only have a couple of colors and whatever the case may be. But life ain't like that. There's a reason you can mix colors to make other colors. There's a reason why you can do so much in your life that you don't necessarily have to fit in. And when I say necessarily fit in, is this: being yourself doesn't mean that you can't be yourself in a crowd. It doesn't mean that you can't be yourself around people who are doing something that you don't do. It doesn't mean that you can't be yourself in a club. It don't mean you can't be yourself. You can be yourself wherever you want to be, because the fact that you're there with those people being yourself means that you are now planting the seed to somebody who may just be watching you, right? They're watching, or they're whatever is happening, or they speak to you, whatever is going on. But they now may have the confidence to go and be themselves in those same crowds, right? Like, I was the type of person, I ain't never really smoked. I ain't really do a lot of stuff like that, right? But I would be around people who did it. I would be around folks who did it and talk to them just like I talk to my family. I talk to them because at the end of the day, who I was and what I was didn't have to fit in or do what they were doing. I didn't have to be the same type of person. I was just Milton, but I'm kicking it with you even though you're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kicking it with people who do harder drugs, and I talk to them just the same. And in some situations you realize I don't belong here, so you bounce. It's okay. Like, you're not limited. And I feel like once you limit yourself, I'm a weed head. Okay, now you're limited to that. Now you're limited. Now you're limited. I'm a this. Well, I'm gonna just do everything. That's ignorance. That's foolishness. You shouldn't do anything. Like I said, don't do anything to harm yourself. If your purpose in life is to go out and give to others, right? If your purpose is to go out and give to others and do for others and be for others, which most people's purpose in this life has a lot to do to the service of others, then you should not be doing anything to yourself or allowing anybody to do anything to you or allowing yourself to do anything to anybody in your life that allows you to take yourself out of your purpose and allows you to take yourself out of what you're meant to do. If you're doing these things, then you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting those people. You're not being hurt by those people. You only are hurting yourself when you assimilate to the environments that cause you to be outside of who and what you are. That's the work. That's the work that has to be done. That's the work. And that's my last word. So I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. I hope that, I dropped some gems for you guys, and I hope that you loved the show. If you didn't, that's okay. If you did, hey, hoorah. Most of all, what I pray for you guys is that you go out and you do what you're supposed to do, man, because we need people like you. We need you out here. We don't need no more copycats. We don't need no more of the same rendition of something else. We don't need that anymore. We need you. So we need you to go out here and be yourself, do your thing. And we need you to go out here and be the exact person that you really, really, and truly want to be. Much love to you. Much peace to you. And I hope to talk to you soon. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I'm out.